Greetings! What is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding, and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle. Featuring on Crossroads, spawning in the north, playing as the Overcommand West pieces, it's going to be Itaperuna. A stalwart, very capable player, has proved themselves many times on the channel and elsewhere. Spawning in the south, playing as the American forces, it's going to be FK9DD. Who I'm probably just going to call Double D for the duration of this cast. Looks like our players are going to go ahead and lock in their commanders very early on in this battle. And Itaperuna here going to be going for the, is this the Grand Offensive? No, this is Breakthrough Doctrine. Yes. Breakthrough Doctrine. Ooh, cool. Okay, not seen this guy for a minute. Yeah, Panzer Fusiliers good. Breakthrough Tactics can be pretty cool. Sturmoffizier is a unit that I want to see more of. Assault Artillery. That's very hit and miss. I know that's the way of artillery, but literally, I don't know, sometimes it seems great, other times less so. And the Jagdtiger. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen one of those on the channel, and much as it would dominate a map this small, I think we're quite unlikely to see one. But fingers crossed, that would be a nice thing to see in a game. Looks like Double D here, going to be going with the, what do you call this guy? Rifle Company. Oh, this is the Easy 8 commander. Okay, I kind of remember this guy now. Yeah, okay. Rifleman field defenses, advanced infantry equipment, so you get the flamethrowers on your rear esh if you want them. Fire up. Rifleman can move at maximum speed for a period of time. Okay, been a minute since I've seen that one. White phosphorus, smoke barrage. So, looks like it's going to be a Kubel build here for Itaperuna. Also, Panzer Fusiliers being mixed in. OKW builds, at least in the very early game, typically not up to a lot of variety, so it's nice to see some Panzer Fusiliers mixed into this. Looks like it's going to be Rifleman for now for FK9DD. And before this battle gets too kind of heated, I'm going to spend a moment here to say that this Wednesday, which I think is tomorrow? Yeah. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, what'll it be, the 19th? Yeah, of February. I'll be casting the semi-finals and finals of the most recent Homeworld Deserts of Karak tournament. Really looking forward to that. Been a long time since I've cast that game, so probably going to upload the VODs here on the YouTube channel, and it'll be on Bozo Cow's Twitch tomorrow, starting at around about 4 GMT. So yeah, if you're interested in Deserts of Karak, if you want to hang out with us live, that would be really sweet. We'd all appreciate it. That'd be really cool. Or alternatively, you can find the VODs later on my channel or on Bozo's Twitch or on probably his YouTube. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, Deserts of Karak action incoming tomorrow. Looks like we've got our first big firefight here. Looks like everybody's in decent cover trading shots. And the American riflemen here kind of... well, I think they are just about taking the upper hand, although these riflemen get forced back, and that only leaves 9 riflemen firing, actually. This is still a lot of German rifles here. And the Kubelwagen's also going to transition into this fight, so actually this will be a nice fight here taken by Itaperuna on the opponent's side of the map, cutting off a lot of relevant resources thanks to the work of the Kubelwagen, I believe, that captured this point. So Itaperuna here driving a wedge into the American territory. And that is gonna get him off to a nice resource differential lead in the early stages of this game. Wow, flamethrower being used against the Kubelwagen here. That actually does seem to be doing pretty good damage. Nice. So it's going to be a battle group attack. Battle group attack. Build here for Itaperuna. Not exactly sure what unit they will be interested in taking from that building just yet, but of course the medics will be useful. Captain Tech here for FK9DD. And well, I imagine we're going to see... Oh, I suppose he's a little way off. I was going to say, hopefully... He's already brought the 3/4 ton ambulance. That's where some of his fuel has gone. I was wondering if we might see an AA half-track for a second there. That would have been cool. Man, there's just been a lot of rifle fire going on in this game. Constant exchanging over here in this area of the map. Volksgrenadiers doing well, but rather outnumbered here. The American rifles do fire faster. Ah, nice. Incendiary grenade here. Just going to deny that cover, force these riflemen to come out into the open, which the Volks are prioritizing. So Itaperuna's micro in these little firefights actually just coming through a treat. He is actually making these Volksgrenadiers trade out so hard. Getting retreats on American squads, and just he traded like 1 Volksgrenadier for 3 riflemen. Okay, and he also threw in an incendiary grenade actually, so there is an additional cost there, but still looking pretty smart. Going to be an AA half-track, not from Double D, but from Itaperuna, so that's going to be a spicy, punchy early game unit, which doesn't really have any counters out right now. Of course, the captain can, but... Oh no, so the captain gets the BAR, it's the lieutenant who gets the Zook. Okay. Yikes. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a scary one. Okay, captain is coming, though, and of course we do have the option to build the anti-tank gun. Yeah, sorry, lieutenant is coming. Is that what I said? Lieutenant's on the queue, anyway. He should have the tools he needs to be able to defend against this AA half-track, which is now on the field. Rumbling on out here. Wow, no camo. The naked AA half-track here. That's some raunchy stuff, NSFW. G43 upgrades finishing up on some of these Panzer Fusiliers. Nothing super dramatic going on in this game, though. Just stable, steady management. Itaperuna just making smart decisions and utilizing Axis units in favorable engagements. That's kind of been the story of this game so far. Scoreline doesn't reflect that, though. FK9DD did have a nice sort of cap advantage earlier on. So whilst the resource differential and basically the way the fights have gone has been favouring Itaperuna, I think, the scoreline is going to be Double D's one advantage here. And we're going to see exactly how meaningful that's going to be. This Kugelwagen getting hung out a little bit to dry. The fallback does come down, or rather the reverse move. And that one will be saved for now. Looks like east of map just falls to Axis hands. Too many rifles, too much AA half-track. And going to be making a bit of a land grab there, possibly even going to be seeking to connect the southern fuel point here, will Itaperuna, and that would be nice if he can do it. These riflemen, though, finally, Double D, able to find some damage on the other side of the map. Going to grab this cutoff, that's crucial. That is cutting off, what, a munitions point, a fuel point, and 3 other points right now. So that is quite the resource disruption that these riflemen were able to do. Also retreating at the first sign of trouble, just getting out of there. The job is done. Why trade? You don't want to trade against an AA half-track. That's just not a good trade. Looks like both of these players are going to be investing in some hard AT. We've got a Kettenwerfer for Peruna and the M1 anti-tank gun. Although they call it something else, don't they? Oh no, it is the M1 anti-tank gun, sorry, for Double D. American forces by far the faction with which I am the least familiar. I don't know what it is about them, but they just don't grab me in a way that makes me want to play as them. And unless you have some serious... I mean, I have played as American forces. It's not like I've never played as them. But unless you actually have serious playtime with a faction, you don't really have that degree of familiarity. And I'd be the first to hold up my hand and say, when it comes to USF, I am not the best informed. Alright, so here comes the AA half-track coming across. Looks like some mines going to be attempted to be placed here, but Itaperuna will know about that. AT gun set up in a nice position, forces the smoke, and that's going to be... that's actually going to be a dead half-track. Was that an attack ground round? I believe it was. Yep, well that was a kill on the AT gun, so I think that was an attack ground round coming through the smoke. Very nicely done there by Double D, and that's going to be the first significant unit loss of the game, a fuel unit no less as well. Itaperuna undoubtedly had greater plans and expectations for that. Oh, we've got a Schwerwehrmacht Schlepper just taking a nose out onto a map. Going to have to fall back. You don't want that to get scouted by an allied player. As soon as allied players have a whiff that you're trying to throw down a truck out on the map, they will make it their mission to deny that truck, because of course they're very vulnerable whilst they're moving out and then setting up. So, I don't think that Double D caught a glimpse of that truck. But in any case, looks like Itaperuna is just going to play it safe. Redeploy it out here to the west side of the map. Of course, this, by the way it's moving out on the map, we know it's probably going to be the Schwerwehrmacht Schlepper. Sorry, the Schwerpanzer HQ, my bad. The other Schwer thing. So he'll be looking to go into some sort of Panzer tech probably, sooner rather than later. Still no sign of the Sturmoffizier. It's like a bit of a shame. I'd love to see him out here. But you can't get everything you want. Looks like Itaperuna, after the loss of the AA half-track, basically his army is substantially depleted. Look at the top left, look at the top right. FK9DD here with more units that are better. So Itaperuna is going to have to weather this next phase of play in a defensive stance, I would have thought. It is definitely the American forces which right now, as we used to usually around about the 10-minute mark, are in the ascendancy. That's a nice incendiary grenade though. Forces back to American squads there. Actually kind of using the double incendiary here to just clean American squads off of that piece of cover entirely. Stormtroopers here. I mean, sorry, Storm Pioneers here, making a dive behind the line, but he will be squad wiped for it. There is just no way, yep. So wiping out the squad of the M1AT gun, not that consequential to be honest. I mean, that's some veterancy loss, but it's not even that bad. And going to be losing the Storm Pioneers, a very expensive and elite unit to be losing. Adding on to the loss of the AA half-track just now, that is quite a steep decline in resources in units alive at Itaperuna's disposal. And American forces seeking to push. Panzer authorization has finished, so the flat gun will be able to defend the cutoff point for now. But it won't be able to reach over here. And Double D here just leaning in, pressuring Itaperuna in all the ways that he ought to, or they ought to. So, yeah, Itaperuna with some work to do here. This is tough. It's always tough against Americans in this phase of the game, but especially so because of the loss of the AA half-track and now the Storm Pioneers. Another AT gun is getting added on. Well, I suppose if you've just seen that your opponent has got Panzer authorization already, you cannot hurt to have some hard AT options to prepare for any unit which is going to come out of that building. We'll have to see as this game goes on, probably about a minute or two here until Itaperuna will be able to make a choice from that building. And then we'll know what his intentions are for this game. Flammenwerfer up in this building, been getting good use out of the flamer on these rear esh. Up to 3 stars of veterancy, and it is relatively rare that we see vet squads on 3 stars of veterancy this early in a game. Oh no, possibility of another squad wipe on the Storm Pioneers, no less. Okay, they're going to sneak away, not drawing any fire there. And Itaperuna making a brave attempt of it here in mid, but there's just too many American rifles, too much veterancy. Weapon racks have of course finished, so we've got BARs and Zooks popping up all over. And that's really hard to deal with when you've only got, what, 4 core infantry squads if you count the Storm Pioneers. A Kugelwagen and a Kettenwerfer. This is difficult now. We're up against 3 rifleman squads, a captain, a lieutenant. Now the major is on the field. So the American tech tree is complete. This is just how all smooth American games look. The scoreline differential as well, opening up some 90-odd tickets in it right now, and that is increasing. But Itaperuna doing what I always say is like the bare minimum to have a decent chance in the game. To have an acceptable chance in the game, let's put it that way. Which is maintain control of 1 victory point and 1 fuel point. If you can do that, you have a chance in the late game. You will be entitled to have some semblance of a normal Company of Heroes 2 game. And Itaperuna has managed to do that. The positioning of this Schwerpanzer HQ has been great. To be honest, I'm kind of glad in a way for Itaperuna that he didn't deploy that over out in the east, because I think if he put it out in the east, I mean, like, what's it actually defending out here? Like 2 regular points? Whereas over here, it has defended the cutoff, and that is worth a lot more. Major Tech gets scouted here, so Itaperuna comprehends the peril that will be coming his way. And, man, the G43 upgrade on these Panzer Fusiliers does some good damage. Obersoldaten here, going to be actually the first unit out of the Schwerpanzer HQ. High risk, high reward, I would say. This represents putting a lot of your eggs into a very small basket, but if Obersoldaten are able to get like to vet 3 or above, they start looking real scary, and they are a very effective counter to allied infantry if you can protect, if you can insulate them from harm and allow them to vet up. So here they come. MG34 is the crucial upgrade for them, of course. Massively increases their DPS when firing from a static position. Of course, out of the gate, they have fantastic accuracy, so that MG34 is going to start pouring damage on. Comes down to the micro, though. And whether Itaperuna, because this is still a 4-man squad, it's still very easy to lose it to American squads with veterancy and BARs. So we're going to have to see how these Obersoldaten connect into these fights coming up. Looks like they are going to transition across to the west here, wanting to contribute to this fight. 2 AT guns they're going to find. That's nice. They could actually just kill these very quickly. We'll see if they're going to do that. Rifleman falling back here, unlikely to be squad wiped. So Double D getting the fallbacks in good time here. Flamethrower, rear ash, now up to 5 men, of course, because they've got the 3rd star of veterancy. Gonna be the counter to these Obersoldaten, who really actually didn't do very much damage to those AT guns. The Obersoldaten here getting roasted and toasted. Ah, this needs to be a fallback. Yikes, leaving that fallback a bit late. They're going to take another lick of flame, but there's just not quite enough of American rifles left on the line to secure the squad wipe. So for now, the elite Axis infantry will slink away to fight another day. Itaperuna now down at 350 under 471, so maintaining control over 1 victory point, bleeding at a rate which is, for this phase of the game when you have this many tickets, acceptable. Has enough fuel now that they could take a Panzer IV, a Yag-D, or even a Panther. We're getting to Panther money now. How much is an OKW Panther? Sorry, it's been a while since I've actually refreshed my memory. 185, okay. So yeah, could take a Panther. That would be acceptable. I sort of have this weird distant hope that he's actually saving for the Jagdtiger. But we're a ways away from that yet. 260 fuel, Jesus. And 4 more command points needed before that's an option. But there is a timeline where we do see that. And my fingers are crossed that we're living in that timeline. That's going to be a Firefly. Sorry, a Jackson. Oh, no, sorry, that's an Easy 8. Sweet. All right, we're going to get to see the Easy 8 Sherman. Love it. So the Easy 8 Sherman kind of feels like an Axis tank because you don't get to switch ammo or do anything particularly cool with it. I mean, you can still pop the crew out. It still has the American crew. But just the one shell type on that one, but it is pretty decent against most targets. Kind of feels like microing a sort of Panzer IV on steroids, but not quite a Panther. It's kind of the experience with microing that one. Obersoldaten here getting pushed around a little bit. They get 1 star of veterancy and then are forced to flee. Incendiary grenade... Sorry, what was that? That was a frag grenade, sorry, off the Panzer Fusiliers. Comes down at a nice positioning there. STG equipped Volks as well. Pumping out damage at close range. Decent veterancy now getting over these Axis forces. It's taken a while, but he's starting to catch up in the veterancy. Easy 8 though, sledgehammers into the fight, and that will swing it. Axis forces forced to withdraw. Possibility of a Faust going to connect here, but I don't think it'll be enough to break the engine. And in response to this Easy 8, it seems like Itaperuna feels forced into getting a Panzer IV. Ugh, I'm not sure I agree with that. Somebody help me explain why he's building a Panzer IV now. He had like... He's building a Panzer IV with 80 fuel left over and like 200 manpower left over, so he could have basically have afforded any armoured unit. So why are we picking the Panzer IV? A Panzer IV to me seems like a natural target for an Easy 8. I mean, yes, Panzer IVs can kill Easy 8s, it does happen, but like if the Easy 8 is going to destroy any unit that comes out of this building, it is probably going to be the Panzer IV. I feel like a Yag-D would have been absolutely fine. A Yag-D would have defeated this as long as you can keep it safe, which he probably could have done. He has good supporting units here. Oh my god, he loses the Schwerpanzer building. Oh, that's so rough. That might just be game. That's so rough. Well, at least he's not going to have a rubbishy Panzer IV, which I think is a pretty bad choice. I mean, hey, I could be totally wrong, but I mean, surely even a Panther would have been a much better choice, because it just gives you a much better fight against the Easy 8 and the potential future Easy 8s. And a Jagdpanzer would have been cheaper and better, in my opinion. Cheaper than a Panther, at least. But okay, so the situation goes from bad to worse, because he doesn't even get the Panzer IV he wanted, which, you know, so he doesn't get that. He loses his tech tree. That's going to cost, like, 100 odd fuel to rebuild that. So the Schwer... Oh, is he just going to build the Schwerpanzer HQ? He's building a mechanized Reg HQ? You crazy, son? I don't get it. So, okay, he's going to use Pumas? So, I like this in a way. I think rebuilding Schwerpanzer HQ tech feels terrible. That just feels like a straight fuel tax, like your opponent just whipped a load of fuel out of your wallet. That feels terrible. I see... I mean, Mechanized Regiment HQ, you can go for Pumas, and they have a chance against Easy 8s. You can do okay. You also get the Stukas of Fuss if you want it. MG34 getting added into the roster here, which I like here from Itaperuna. But you get the Stukas of Fuss, which is also probably going to be fine on this build. The Mechanized Reg HQ is also much better at catering to this low fuel income and this low fuel sort of game that Itaperuna is having. Panzer IIs also could be useful here. I can totally see that. These Obersoldaten aren't in a really bad position. They're getting cut down. Itaperuna. Oh, is it too late though? Oh, they're taking fire. They've still got to fall back across some negative cover here. Oh, he just sneaks away with those Obersoldaten in the nick of time. That was pretty dicey. Kettenwerfer here set up at the back, finding some good hits on this Easy-8, and that is nice. The Volksgrenadiers that were insulating it, though, are forced out, and now the Kettenwerfer has to yield. I think he'll be losing that Kettenwerfer. Oh, every meter these guys carry it is like making it harder for the American player to... Oh my goodness, come on, mouse. Making it harder for the American player to steal that Axis hardware. And now Itaperuna is kind of taking fights literally at the doorstep of his base, and this never feels good. That'll be a phosphorus barrage. Oh, or is it a major barrage? Could actually be a major barrage. That's a major barrage, isn't it? Yep. Nice. No, it's a fake barrage. Oh, so crafty. Okay, so using the Major's fake barrage ability there, pretty crafty stuff. Somehow having a fuel connected though still is Itaperuna. If he could just spend this damn fuel. But the trouble is when you're pinned down on your own base, you're suffering such high attrition in terms of, oh god, he feels compelled to try and get this Kettenwerfer out of there. Oh god. Oh no, and it gets denied by the very unit it was intended to counter. That's going to force additional troops to try and get this goddamn Kettenwerfer out of here. He's gonna, if this Easy-8 kills the crew on the next shot, oh my god, that would have been so bad. Okay, oh no, did the Faust connect just before the... Oh no, the Kettenwerfer even missed. Oh no, this is Itaperuna here just having the roughest game. Oh yikes. Obersoldaten grabbed the cutoff, so finally munitions are flowing back in, but Itaperuna here in a rough position. 216 now, under a triple cap. Some heroic Storm Pioneers actually going to do something about that, crucially grabbing a VP back off the American forces. Somehow Itaperuna able to find a way to subsist in this game. Now though, a second Easy-8 appears on the queue, and I mean, that will be too much. He cannot handle this Easy-8, let alone two. Has to save up enough manpower to spend some of this fuel. That's been the problem this game. Destroying that Schwerpanzer HQ was massive because, I mean, Itaperuna just can't spend his most powerful or the most, you know, tech-heavy resource, fuel. And by keeping the pressure on and forcing Itaperuna to be fighting on the doorstep of his base and forcing Itaperuna to therefore be having a high attrition rate in terms of infantry models that he has to replace, there just isn't really the manpower to spend this fuel in any meaningful way. So, oh no, now the Obersoldaten are in a pretty nasty spot here. They throw down the Frangi smoke actually to cover themselves from those rear ash. That's pretty nice. And then here we go, the giant, well-equipped, epically composed American Force Army here, just able to recapture these points in rapid order. And wow, actually, Itaperuna able to push in the west. I feel like Double D does actually have the resources to control all of these areas. It's just, they're just not quite lining up right now. So Itaperuna is still being lucky, but as soon as Itaperuna is able to, as soon as Double D is able to control these 3 victory points in a slightly more determined way, this game's going to end real fast, I feel like. Itaperuna here just playing on borrowed time. And now the second Easy-8 makes itself known. That Kettenwerfer taking pretty... That is... Yep, that was right on the end of the range there. Oh god, this is looking so rough. The MG34 able to get out of that building just about. Storm Pioneers here feeding into a meat grinder. What are we doing here, boys? This doesn't look wise. Why are they feeding forwards? There we go. Oh, sorry, that's the Kugelwagen saying main gun destroyed. Oh dear. Now here comes the first Easy-8 just cycling back in to take the place of the one that was damaged but not destroyed. And Double D here just not slipping up at all, keeping the pressure on. Not giving Itaperuna any mistakes on which to capitalize. How is Itaperuna controlling this much map? It is kind of incredible. All of his units have just been forced back, so this map control is about to collapse, but it's very impressive to me that Itaperuna has been able to command this much map. Now it's Bruno. Can you just... What are we... Oh, he's saving it for the Yagti. But you don't have Panzeroth. So I was just going to say, okay, yeah, he can go for the King Tiger. Yeah. All right, literally as I had the thought, the announcer was like, King Tiger! I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing you can do. All right. So this is the Hail Mary. Because the requirements for the King Tiger are that you have purchased, or that you have had the three tech buildings. Battlegrupper HQ, Mechanized Reg, and Schwerpanzer HQ. And despite one of them having been destroyed, you are still able to call in this King Tiger. So, it won't be a Jagdtiger game, but we do have a KT, the other king, on the field. What is this KT doing, though? It's kind of beached itself up against this movement blocker. That is risky. Oh, yikes. I mean, Easy 8s could come from your rear here, and you'd be pinned against this movement blocker. The rotation is miles off. Oh, God. It's okay for now, because it's not been scouted, but this KT is actually in a slightly precarious position. He needs to rotate it, and then it will be better. Alright, so the Kubelwagen goes down, but that's okay. There are still Storm Pioneers alive, and they are Vet 3, so the repairs on this KT are going to be sufficient, although he probably could use a second squad of Storm Pioneers when he can. But I mean, this KT means that Itaperuna can't just be shoved out of this game anymore. Double D is going to have to win at least one more fight. But with 2 Easy 8s and 2 AT guns and an infantry roster this well equipped and intimidating. Obersoldaten running out. Oh god. Obersoldaten with a Flammenwerfer? Oh, that's so nasty. Oh my god. They do a lot of damage. But will it be enough? KT is going to push forward into mid, into the teeth of 2 AT guns and the Easy 8, but its frontal armor is decent. Especially right now, because these AT guns have no veterancy. That's going to change. Tungsten rounds get used. And now the Easy 8s decide to try and close the distance and get up into the rear or flank of the KT, using the road for the speed buff there. And it looks like a bit of a spit roast happening on this KT here. KT's going to chew through the hedge to swing its front armor to bear. And that is nice. One of the Easy 8s going down in this maneuver. The KT still on like a third of its health. This Easy 8 going to commit hard to try and get the kill. But KT just kiting for all it's worth. There's no other AT here really, so it just comes down to the Easy 8 versus the KT. Can he get the Easy 8 on the way out? No, he can't. Wow. Ooh. That was a close run thing. That was close for both players. I think that's probably a pretty good trade for Itaperuna though, because I mean, he picks up an Easy 8 without losing the KT, so that's pretty nice. His infantry is now really nice and vetted. These Obersoldaten have been... They're just so slow to vet up because they're an expensive unit, but I mean, 2 stars of veterancy, what do they get there? Increases accuracy and weapon control, yeah, so it's a DPS increase. Okay. But it's going to be a Jackson here, and that is the appropriate response to a King Tiger for American forces. So replacing the Easy 8 with a Jackson is an upgrade for the American roster. Of course, you'd rather have kept the Easy 8 alive, but you don't always get to choose these things. Turbo repairs with the repair kit and the 3-star veteran Storm Pioneers here. Going to turn this King Tiger around in very rapid order. That is some speedy repairs when you take into account the size of the HP pool on King Tiger. MG34's here, doing a job on the American infantry. Itaperuna not actually bleeding right now. 115 under 452. But, I mean, definitely since the KT hit the field, you can feel that the pace of play and the nature of the engagements has changed significantly. And we're going to have to see if that balance is going to be affected by the presence of the Jackson in the American roster. It all comes down to these next fights, how good the shots are from the Jackson, whether they hit, whether they penetrate. Oh, Panzerfusilier is running into a lot of Flammenwerfer. Looks like they are actually going to get out. That would have been a bitter loss, a 5-star squad there. Obersoldaten here, facing off against just a lot of Vet 3 riflemen here, but these riflemen are closed into the flamethrower. So, oh no, Frangie smoke coming down? No, it's a Bundaroo grenade. Baraka Friday Bundaroo. And those Oversoldaten, trading out 2 Oversoldaten for like 5 or 6 Riflemen is pretty okay. And now, Axis forces punching forward to the cutoff. Itaperuna just wasting no time, recognizing that right now he actually has a moment of strength in this game. For the first time in a long time, not the underdog in these fights. Pushes up with a Raketenwerfer and 2 squads of Volksgrenadiers. 5-star means that they are durable AF. STGs spitting death. And, okay, now the Easy 8 finding some hits onto the KT, which is probably going to feel forced to kite back a little bit here. Yeah, you just can't keep taking hits for free there. Picks off the crew on one of the AT guns, resetting the veterancy there. Turbo relevant when this game is now about killing a KT, so that's nice. The Easy 8 here being corralled back by this Kettenwerfer. Volksgrenadier is going to overextend into the base defense MG. That will suppress them, and Itaperuna is finally going to have to give up this position. But, I mean, look at the mini-map right now, or should I say, look at the tactical map right now. Looking good! Itaperuna making moves. And that's nice to see. The KT now has a star of veterancy as well, which is that when it gets the spearhead mode? Spearhead mode, yeah. Okay, cool. So actually he's using spearhead mode. That's pretty cool. He was using spearhead mode because the KT was like way at the back here. I think often players forget to use spearhead mode, and now we've got a Stuck as a Fuss on the queue. That'll change the dynamic significantly. That actually makes this Axis army way more scary, because you can't just sit back and try and deal with it just by taking the VPs. The Werferman will be hurling rocket barrages into your face. And the advantage right now for Double D is really this American infantry still. And if he starts losing squads there, I mean, A, he can't afford that, especially if he wants to be spending his fuel. And B, if you lose any of these infantry squads, if this infantry roster gets depleted at all, I pretty much think you just get steamrolled in both the infantry and the armor battle, and that is not acceptable for Double D. That will not lead to a happy ending. So, actually, Double D's position in this game becoming a little bit precarious. Itaperuna just able to stabilize on the back of this KT. And just masterfully navigating the position. You can tell Itaperuna has played OKW before. Good God, comes sweeping through. Bear in mind, this is the sort of late game now. The sort of late phase of the late game, where the 5 stars of veterancy available to OKW actually start to matter quite a lot. This infantry is now real scary, real durable too. And although clustered up and taking a fight in negative cover is never what you want, they're still probably going to win as these riflemen desperately close into SDG range. Easy 8 here to back them up, and that will be a fallback for all parties concerned. KT here, just still on spearhead mode. Has to be careful though, pushing out with the KT unsupported like this, because, you know, this is an American player who has access to mines. Oh my God, the Jackson just unable to find any purchase on the KT armor at that range. We'll see. Yeah, there we go, finally gets one. So this game really finely balanced right now. Look at the top left, look at the top right. These armies pretty well balanced, but I think finally Itaperuna has the edge in terms of composition and just sheer strength. Has the edge right now. And that can't be a good feeling if you're Double D. How many times have we seen these games where the Axis player is really far behind the Allied player for like the first 20-25 minutes, and then they stabilize, usually on the back of a heavy tank of some variety, a heavy armored unit, and then the Axis player stabilizes, and it can be really difficult for the Allied player to disrupt that dynamic. Once the Axis player stabilizes, it can be hard to throw the game out of that lock. So here comes the Stuck as a Fuss. Oh no, that is a good first barrage. What was that? 2 squads of riflemen killed? Or were they the officers? I think it was 1 officer and 1 rifleman. I don't know. It was bad. Let's put it that way. Yikes. How many kills was that? 9. Itaperuna. Yikes. Whew. I mean, alright, I mean, now the game is looking quite difficult for Double D. But, yeah. I mean, it ain't over, but, like, this game has swung considerably. It's going to go for another Easy 8. So we'll have 2 Easy 8s and a Jackson to try and bring down this KT. And if he can do that, well, then we're in a world where actually Itaperuna can almost afford another KT, so... I got bad news for you, Double D. Well, Double D's going to make the best of it. He's going to make a play for it. And, you know, I'm not convinced that Double D is any further behind now than Itaperuna was far behind when Itaperuna lost that Schwerpanzer HQ. So it definitely ain't over. Things can happen. Company of Heroes 2 is a hell of a game. It just looks real bad. I can hear artillery. What's going on? That's the assault artillery. I believe that's coming down right on the screen here. I know it's coming down here. That is a considerable volume of artillery. Forces back a couple of American squads. Am I right in thinking this follows up the smoke? Yeah. It's a cool looking ability, you can't argue it. How much does it cost? Oh, it's not cheap at 200 munitions. I thought it was 180. Damn. I mean, you do get a lot of boom boom, so that makes sense, I guess. Wow, the cooldown is like... Oh, no, okay, the cooldown's a little more than I thought. Alright, these Volt Grenadiers, they're going to get out of there. Major barrage? Oh no, that's a white phosphorus barrage coming in. Stuckers are first coming in. Trying to catch some units coming in and out of the American base. Not going to find them this time. Itaperuna takes a little bit of a gamble with that barrage. Doesn't pay off. KT here. Whoa, shit. KT here on like super low health. Looks like the Easy 8 and the Jackson going to be stalking it. That should be a dead KT. Nicely done here. Alright, Double D. I was getting distracted by the Stuckers of Foos shots and tracking them with the camera, but over here on the right flank, looks like Double D was able to take a 3-on-1 fight. He even gets out with the best of the three, the Jackson here, trading out the two Easy 8s. That's acceptable. This game totes alive now, I reckon. Itaperuna still has a lot of resources, and, I mean, yeah, okay, I was going to say, the game would be alive, but then I looked at the top right and I realized that there is no manpower to replace these losses. I mean, there's 488, but it's not enough to build yourself a workable roster. And then you look at the top left and it's like, it doesn't matter what you spend this 488 manpower on. Your face is going to get smashed by all of this horrendously elite Axis infantry. So, wow, Itaperuna just weathering the storm, and that's... just well navigated, calm, cool, and collected there. Itaperuna, a cool operator. I think in the early stages of the game, I think there were no massive mistakes by either side, but Itaperuna was, I mean, whether you want to call it a mistake or bad luck, he did lose the AA half-track, he did lose the Storm Pioneers, and that put him in a position where he was clearly the underdog. Then, because he just didn't quite have enough strength to defend it, he ended up losing the Schwerpanzer HQ that was deployed like here. And he lost it in a pretty crucial time in the game, because he basically lost it before he could spend any fuel through it. And there was a nasty moment, there was a nasty window in this game where it looked as though Itaperuna might die with like 250 odd fuel in his pocket because he just couldn't really spend it. So then Itaperuna clearly has the idea, hey, you know what, I'm going to throw down the mechanized regiment, complete my tech tree, or at least complete the 3 trucks built, so that I can go for a KT. Masterful decision, very, very good. There's a timeline going here, though, and I wonder what it would have looked like, where Itaperuna is able to defend this structure, and then the Panzer IV comes out, and he's committed the fuel and the spending to that. Because honestly, I really think that game looks so much worse for Itaperuna if he actually finishes that Panzer IV. Like, I still don't really understand why the Panzer IV was the choice out of that building. A Panzer IV just seems like just the perfect target for Sherman Easy 8s and like everything that the American player was going to be building from that point in the game onwards. So, in a strange way, I feel like forcing Itaperuna away from the Panzer IV and onto the King Tiger plan kind of decided this game against Double D. Which is a little bit paradoxical when you think about it, but that's seemingly what we saw. This is a map. Crossroads is a small map, okay? It's a small map. Your bases are very close to each other, and it's wider than it is long, if you like. Which basically means that a King Tiger is massive. Like, if you imagine on this tactical map, imagine not just the unit King Tiger. Let's suppose that this standard territory point here represents the position of a King Tiger, right? Like, just from this position, okay, a King Tiger's range, it probably shoots like maybe about this far. So that's a huge circle. That is like about a third or a quarter of the relevant area of this map that you would normally be fighting on. Now, King Tigers are normally limited, of course, by their really slow speed. But on this map, it like with 10 seconds worth of movement, this King Tiger can either be like here or here. And if you imagine its range on top of that, that basically means that, like, with only a modest amount of movement, the King Tiger can be anywhere it needs to be relevant in a fight, throwing shells into the best possible target. And it's maps like this that heavy tanks are the most decisive. They are the most swingy because they are going to be involved in every fight. Whereas on bigger maps, King Tigers can actually be a bit of a liability because you just push where the King Tiger isn't, but that's much harder to do on these really small maps. So forcing Itaperuna off of the Panzer IV plan and onto the KT plan, like, also kind of just plays into the way this map is laid out. Strange to think, but that is it's just true, really. So yeah, wow, damn good fight from both of these players. Pleasure to watch. A reminder again that tomorrow, Wednesday the 19th of February, I'll be casting Homeworld Deserts of Karak with Bozo Cow at about 1600 GMT. That's 4 o'clock. We'll be casting on his Twitch channel. I'll probably be recording on my OBS. Probably find the VODs here or on Bozo's Twitch. There's going to be the semi-finals and the finals of the Deserts of Karak tournament that has occurred, I believe, last week. I've not been super in touch with what's been going on with Deserts of Karak because just life's been really busy recently, but I will be very glad to get back to casting that game. For those of you who don't know Deserts of Karak, it is just literally one of the best RTSs ever made. Like just the decision making, the micro, the pace of the game, the flow of the game, it's just excellent. Objectively, it's excellent. So yeah, really looking forward to casting that. Thank you very much for watching, and this for now. Magpie842 signing out.